and hello, movie lovers, and welcome to the show. For tonight's podcast episode, I have independent actor Sean James with me tonight. Say hello to everybody.
What's up, y'all? How we doing?
And you know what, man? It's been a while. It's been close to a year that we've actually done an episode together, to believe it or
It's
not.
been a minute. It's been a
Yeah.
minute, for sure.
So, my thing is this: what have you been up to? How's things been going for you? I know that you've been busy. I've seen your IMDb and stuff like that, but not only that, but I've even seen you on social media, man. You're killing it. Or, you're doing a fantastic job at what you're doing.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
It's been a really good year. Definitely leveled up. Um, it went from coming back on a show to coming back from multiple episodes on that show to booking another show, coming back from multiple episodes for that to booking another show after that. So because of this, I've been working, on and off for pretty much the whole year so far, which is just there are no words for that. And Just want to keep it going, man. Just want to keep the momentum going to where this is just like a regular thing that I do. It is now. I'm not losing sight of the moment now that it's here. It's just I want to compound on that, and it's been great. As a result of all these shows, I haven't really had to work a day job, quote unquote, for the first time ever, which is just amazing because that's what you want to do as an actor. That's the end game, just to work, not to do X, Y, and Z. You just want to work and not have to do something else while doing that. So if
Absolutely.
that's the if that's the litmus test, then we definitely have passed. So that's great. And just being able to do things I never thought I would do, like being able to pay things off and do different things because of working through acting and working towards, insurances and contributing to pensions and all that stuff. It's surreal. It's surreal. But in saying that it's surreal, that it's actually happening, I 100% expected this to happen. And I don't say that from like a place of, egocentric place. I just say that from a place of that I know what I bring, I know how hard I work, and I just already made the decision in my mind that, oh, this is just going to happen. This is going to happen. So with
Right.
that mindset and with what I put forth, it's just a matter of time. So I knew this was going to happen. It's just I didn't know when. You never know when.
Right.
And the fact that it's happening is pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Exactly, man. Because here's the thing: you never know what opportunity is going to be lying behind the door and everything.
Hmm.
And not
Yeah.
only that, it's just that striving of trying to do something that is totally, completely different than what anybody else would actually thought about doing in the first place
Yeah.
and everything. It gets hard. It's actually a hard thing to actually do with what you're doing, and especially what I'm doing with the podcast and stuff like that too.
Hmm.
But you just have to have that willingness just to keep working and just to keep going and everything, and not slow down and everything,
Yeah.
because I feel like, I don't know about you, but as for me, if I slow down, I feel like I'm doing a disservice to myself and plus the people that are support my podcast and everything too. I just feel like I'm letting people down, and then also too I'm letting myself down because I just keep on going and everything, and that's just how fired up I am. And I know that you have that same burning passion that you have with being an actor as well and everything.
Yeah.
It just burns inside of you, and you can't just let it go. You have to keep going until you get the top of that mountain.
Yeah, 100%. It is the air that you breathe, you know. It's just it's I can't describe it. It's when people find whatever that passion is, they know what I'm talking about. It's just like, oh, this is what I'm here for. This is why my parents knocked boots and I was conceived. This is okay. I get it now. This is why I'm here. And when you find that and you hold on to that, it's like a feeling that I can't describe, And for me, doing this is that feeling. And just being on a set or being on a stage, and when that curtain comes up or when they roll camera, and to be this character, to work with people, that you in a million years never would have thought you work with, and who you grew up on in certain cases. That is the most intoxicating thing ever. It's like it's literally like heaven. It's like this is what heaven's like. Like this is what it's like. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I agree with you. It's all about the work. Like I just work. You know, I come from a very blue collar family where hard work and values and ethics are important. So I just bring that flavor out here to that, and I just hit the ground running like head first with no helmet. You know, and that's just how you got to do it.
Exactly.
It starts with you, and then once it starts with you, and you've made that decision and you have just said that this is what you're going to do, then the rest is easy. It's just a matter of when it happens. You just go forth, put out that work, and then it will happen. But it starts with you making that belief real in your own
Right.
mind. And I don't know about other people, but I just like to work. Like I'm not like a days
Workaholic or
off.
anything or
I'm
anything
not like
like
a
that.
days off type of guy. Like I like days off, even if I take a vacation and I give it adequate time for the vacation. You know, uh, after like 3 days, I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go back. We gotta do something. Like we gotta. I'm ready to go back, get some auditions in, do X, Y, and Z, get back in class. You know what I mean? So it's like it's 24/7, 366 on like a leap year in my mind. You know, it's just it's all I think about because it's all I want to do. Like anything, everything else really doesn't matter or is of relevance to me. You know, it's and I just like to work. And like I said when this started, if I could work on projects year round and like barely be home, that's like a vacation for me, you know, because this feed I become fully alive when the director says action or when the curtain goes up. That's when I fully become Sean. Like that's when that engages. You know what I mean? And
Exactly.
yeah.
Because it's
And you
hard.
don't
Right.
yeah,
It's
and you
actually
don't wanna
hard to.
yeah.
Right. Sorry, man. I don't mean to interrupt. Go
No,
on
you
ahead. But it's actually hard to do that though, where it's like it's hard to turn that off as soon as the director says action, and it's like all of a sudden you just become that character. You become somebody else. You're so involved with it, and
Mhm.
then once the cameras are done, that's when the job is done. It's like
Yeah.
clocking in for 8 hours and everything, doing what you have to do, putting on that grind, and just keep on
Mhm.
doing what you have to do to get the job done. But also, too, at the same time, you're getting the job done, but you're actually being fulfilled. You actually have that zen where it's like, that inner
Yeah.
peace where it's like, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm made for. This is me. This is who I am.
Yeah, it fills you on like a molecular level. You know, it's just it's I can't describe it. Like anyone who knows their passion and goes after their passion with like ruthless aggression knows exactly what I'm talking about. It's just this it's what you do it for. You know, you're fully you're a fully formed human when you do what you're made to do. You know what I mean? And you couldn't be more right about doing a project and then getting off of that and snapping back into reality because it feels like a dream. It is a dream. And then when you get back to reality, you're like, oh shit, this is this is. I want to go back to that. I don't want to go back to this. Like when I was working, last year pre-pandemic, and I would book something, and I would be on set with these like award winners and Marvel directors and whatever, whatever. You know what I mean? And then next day, I'm back at Cheesecake Factory. Nothing against Cheesecake Factory, but it's just like it's not working on Sony lot or like working on ABC lot. You know what I mean? And it's just like, man, I want to go back to that. I want to go where they play. I want to go where the into the treehouse where the big boys play. And girls. So
Right.
it's just the fact that I can do that now and not have to go to the opposite end of those feelings of like the letdown of like leaving that when the curtains go back down or when they yell cut. It's the best feeling ever. And it's just so fulfilling because I was watching a really good show that it's a new show that I'm a big fan of. It's called Heels on
Oh
Stars.
yeah.
It's like a family wrestling drama.
Yeah, I love
And
that show, to be honest with you.
yeah, it's a great show. And one of the lines from the show, which when I heard it, I had to like pause and rewind and see if I heard what I heard he said. I was like, yeah, he definitely said that. He said that because wrestling is about telling a story with physicality and all those different things. He's like, audiences count on us telling a story that is better than the one they had to live with every day. And I was like, holy shit, that's me. That was me because I think we touched on this last time. My earliest memories in life, period, are in a movie theater.
Yeah,
Like we're talking 3, 4 years old, being in a movie theater. Probably saw my first R-rated film like before the age of 7,
same
and it's
same
just,
here.
yeah, and it's just, it's just I grew up on that, and that shaped who I am to the point where if I'm talking to someone and I reference something, it's pretty much from a show or a movie that I'm referencing, you know, and my love came from that exact thing that he was talking about. Because as I got older and I was able to process things, and it's like you're growing, and you hit school, and when you're not the prototype person who's like the who's the popular kid at school, and you experience the harsh realities of kids and growing up and what that's like when you're not deemed the accepted or normal. You know what I mean? You look for those stories and those avenues which are tell a better story than what you have to live with every day. And for me, that was going to the movie theaters, seeing superhero on TV as well too, and seeing superheroes and seeing this guy saved the day, get the girl, and he's like saves the world, and everybody loves him, and all this other things. It tells a better story than what you got going on in your life right now. It inspires you that well, hey, life can be better than it is. Like this guy on the screen, and that means I can maybe do better. You know what I mean? And that's kind of where the love for being in that position came from, because what those actors did for me, the Michael Keatons and the Harrison Fords, and go so on and so forth. I want to be able to impart that on the next generation. You know what I mean? Like kind of keep paying it forward. You know, and that's just like my purpose. And it was shaped by, like I said, seeing those stories that these people told on these big ass screens, and those stories being way better than the story of my life at the time. So I
Right.
think that why I'm so invested in this.
Right, totally, man. I totally get that and everything because here's the thing. We want to go on ahead. We want to escape for 2.5 hours watching a movie, watching characters that we can relate to, or just forgetting about the things that are around us. And they want to be glued into that character and forget about their own life because our own
Hmm.
lives is not, you know what I'm saying, like
Yeah,
regular lives and everything is not that exciting as watching something that's 2.5 hours long, watching
yeah,
Superman or The Flash or just an average movie and just going in there having a good time, turning your brain off for 2.5 hours and just being
yeah,
filled with entertainment and then coming out having fun and
yeah,
everything. There's nothing
yeah.
like going to the movie theater and having that movie going experience
One
and
hundred
everything.
percent. Especially
And
when we were younger,
yeah,
when it was a literal experience. Now in the age of smartphone, this and internet, social media, that it's a little different. But I think we're around the same age. When we were kids, it was a fucking experience to go to the movies, especially when
yep,
like a big movie you loved came out. Because we're talking like the days of the newspaper, where you see the big advertisement in the
yep,
newspaper, and then your local theater would have the times. And this is pre-smartphones, like I said, where you couldn't order your tickets ahead of time. And you go to the theater just all geeked, like endorphins are running, and you get there. There's like a line, and like you don't even know if tickets are still left. It might be sold out. It might not. That's the risk you take when back in the day, And it
right.
was it was truly an experience, and I think that fostered like how I am today. When I go to the movies, despite the modern the developments of modern society with like smartphones and this and that,
Right.
it still is experience when I go. It's just like my place of zen. You know what I mean? And yeah, there's just nothing like it, man. There's nothing like it. In the show Lovecraft Country, the main character at one
Yep.
point said the line of "There's nothing better than escaping in the dark for 2 hours," and it's so true.
That's definitely true because here's the thing: you can be in a theater packed with people, and that's actually the first time that you can actually feel like you're being united. This is why I made the movie Lovers Unite and
Yeah,
everything too. Because for 2.5 hours, you forget about all the problems of the outside world. You forget about religion. You forget about what race you are. You forget about everything that society is doing, and you're focused and you're keyed in. You're dialed into this movie.
yeah,
Everybody's just gathered together for 2.5 hours, and just having fun and not having to worry about anything. And you're right,
Absolutely.
though. You're actually right, though, because I'm 36 years old. I grew up in a time when we didn't have smartphones. I actually remember being
Hmm.
geeked out with my friends and all that stuff, looking at the newspaper, hoping and praying that we can actually get in on opening day.
Yeah, and it wasn't sold out. You just didn't know at
Exactly.
the time. Yeah.
Right. Because, perfect example, Mortal Kombat back in the
Hmm.
90s. My
Yeah.
friends and I were geeked out. At that time, House Party 4, I think, was playing at that same time. And then you also had Showgirls playing. So you
That's
had
geeked out.
right. So you had two rated R movies plus a PG-13 movie.
Yeah.
So therefore, you have the teenagers who are like the overly horny teenagers
Hmm.
for House Party.
Hmm.
Then, if you want to see something more risque, more things, you could go on and
Oh
see
yeah.
Showgirls, watch
Oh
Saved by the
yeah.
Bell.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
for us, being geeked out over the 90s Mortal Kombat, we actually get to see Liu Kang for the first time. We actually get to see those characters for the
Hmm.
first time. I remember the back and forth of my friends just being geeked out in line, just talking about what we're gonna about to see, and hopefully we can get in because the line was stretched out all the way to the parking
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
And you're just
Yeah.
praying that we don't have to go back home because we drove our parents 20 minutes out of the way to go
Yeah.
see a movie that may or may not be might be shown and
Oh yeah.
everything.
People don't realize back in the day how I was victim of so many times when I would go to the movies like with my family and we were so hyped and it's like, well, they're sold out. you know, you just it's just like people here today don't experience that because you can get your tickets like 14 days in advance or something crazy, and they just don't understand that feeling of like the letdown of like, oh, so close, you know,
It's like being in
and
a club if you think about it. It's like being in a night at a Roxbury, for
exactly.
example. It's like,
Exactly. Yeah.
sorry, you can't come in. What do you mean we
Yeah.
can't come in? We
Yeah.
love Abraham Lincoln, you
Yeah.
know?
It was so close.
Like,
It was crazy. And that's just and then as you get older, you start going you realize how awesome it is going by yourself, because not everybody loves going to the movies, but people aren't like invested like people like
right,
we are in the movies. So you go by yourself and like you're saying, it literally is like you're going to the golf course playing a full round on the front nine, the back nine, and your mind is escaping, and it's just like this is your zen, this is your sanctuary, your utopia, and that
right.
still is with me to this day. I go to the movies by myself all the time. I tell everybody I go by myself all the time because it's my happy place. It's like where I found happiness where it otherwise wouldn't have been found from when I was younger and growing up. So it really holds a special place, like deep down inside. So I still
I
do it to
totally
this
get it.
day. I go by myself all the time. It's great. It's an experience. And again, my purpose, I feel, through the arts is to bestow that experience on someone else like me. And it doesn't have to be like me, just like other people. You know what I mean? Because like growing up, the impact that these people had on my daily life, as far as like even after the movie, the experience didn't stop because you took it to school and you were talking to people about it at
Yep,
school and you were doing like your own little soft reenactments or parodies at school or like with your family, and they're thinking you're fucking crazy, you know what I
right.
mean? And it's just like people don't understand the impact on certain people that this medium has. And with me, it was like just put in my DNA at that point. It's like, yeah, you're eventually going to do this. We don't know when you're going to discover this in your like when your mutant power is going to manifest, but it will manifest at some point in your life, and you're going to do this. Like it just was put in me at a young age from those experiences I had in the theaters.
Right.
Seeing one of the bigger ones is seeing Michael Keaton as Batman when I was 8 years old, or like going to see Indiana Jones, or going to see it doesn't mean Bad Boys, the first Bad
I
Boys, or
remember going to see the first Bad Boys, to be honest
yeah,
with you.
yeah,
It was a 9 o'clock showing, and everything, and I remember I was like way young to go see this movie.
yeah,
But I just want to see Will Smith for the first time doing
yeah,
it, the Fresh Prince of Bel Air. That's all I cared about,
a hundred
and
percent.
everything, and seeing how he was gonna be as a big screen actor versus a small screen
Mhm.
actor. Because here's the thing, people don't realize this, but who would actually thought we would live in a place and time that we would see Al Pacino on a small screen now?
Yes, that's
Big
just
time actors
yeah.
now realize that there's actually a place for them on a smaller screen because let's face the facts. In the
Mhm.
90s, you had cheesy dialogue. The thing, it wasn't there. It just wasn't there.
Mm-mm.
I would say when it started getting there, it was during the time of The Sopranos and Breaking Bad and everything. Was whenever the TV started transforming and everything.
100%. Yeah, I feel the same way. I think maybe Friends also had like a little hand in that a little bit towards like the middle seasons where it got a little really good, like the meteor seasons.
Hmm.
But yeah, you're 100% right. There was like a full on flip because growing up, it's like movies is where the stories are told, movies is where it's at, and TV is like, eh. I mean, there were good shows. Obviously, your Cheerses and
Right,
you name the show. Like we grew up on all those shows, Fresh Prince, things like
right,
that. But everybody wasn't clamoring to do TV. It was very much the redheaded stepchild, if you will. It's like TV, especially if you were a
right.
big time actor doing big studio films. You don't do TV. It was looked at as like a demotement. You know what I mean? Like a
Right.
punishment. It's like I do TV now.
It's
Great.
like being in the minor leagues, basically, if you think
Exactly.
about it. So,
But now it's all flipped. Unless you have a super, super original idea and material, and you're like a cutting edge director, or if you're not a superhero film, or if you're not a soft reboot of like a old like loved film, you're doing TV because TV is where like the best stories are being told. And like you said, Al Pacino is doing a TV show. No one in their right mind would have ever thought Al Pacino would do a TV show, but he's doing a TV show because the writing is on the wall, and all these actors like Nicole Kidman. When I saw Nicole Kidman growing up in all these movies, whether it
mhm,
be Days of Thunder or whatever, or Batman Forever, didn't even matter. She was just a movie actress, like her and Tom Cruise. Never in a million years would I think that this woman is just going to just immediately do pretty much exclusively TV. From like Big Little Lies to The Undoing to Non Perfect Strangers to all this stuff. It's just crazy how it's flipped and like everybody's just doing TV now. And I think what helps is like technology is advanced to the point now where depending on the medium that the show is on, whether it's a streaming show or whether it's on cable TV as opposed to like network TV where you don't really have FCC rules you got to follow and you can get away with more shit. I feel that they can be shot like movies. So a lot of shows that I watch that are not on network TV are literally just like you're watching a weekly movie.
right,
So I think that the way the technology is advanced and how like DPs are shooting their material and things like that, and the way stories are being told visually, I feel that it's like you're watching a movie, except it's a weekly movie. You know what I mean?
right, right. Or you're streaming it on Netflix and watching 12 hours of Stranger Things, which is a 12-hour long movie, if you think
Yeah,
about it.
yeah.
And it
It's
was
like
like,
it's like a, it's
right,
like a big story that's being told over the. It's like a 10 hour. It's like a 10 hour movie. Take all
right.
the Lord of the Rings, the extended cuts, you put them together, make it one movie, and that's kind of like the shows that we watch nowadays on streaming services. They're like 10-hour movies. So
Exactly. I
yeah.
remember when for example, the Snyder Cut was coming out. I was
Hmm.
like, I don't know if I can sit through a 3-hour movie. I said, you watch Stranger
Same.
Things? I was like, you watch Stranger Things? Do you watch Breaking Bad, Sopranos? Yeah.
Yeah, you can sit through 4 hours, no problem.
Yeah, that's like 12 hours of watching one season of The Sopranos, basically, or 3 episodes
Yeah,
of The Sopranos, for
yeah,
example.
yeah.
So yeah,
I've done
you're
that.
good.
I've done that before. Yeah, I thought the same thing. I was like, can I actually sit here and watch a 4 hour? I was like, yeah, no problem. I was like halfway in. I was like, oh, I'm halfway in. Cool. I just thought like an hour had passed. Like it's just nothing because I'm used to the binge TV culture. Where you're binging
Right.
shows. But then that brings up another thing where it's like now shows on streaming services because I feel like I mean the writing's on the wall. Cable TV is becoming very much obsolete because
Yeah.
all the great show, like even if you're on like a cable channel, like a Stars or a HBO or a Showtime, they have apps for all those channels, and like you can just stream them. Everything is going streaming. So cable TV, that's another story for another day. But where was I going? But yeah, it's just it's like you're being told like this 10-hour movie and you're getting away with more stuff and it's just like it's just so interesting to see. And it's just I remember what I was going to say. um that was the point of streaming services. What was their allure, which is everybody jumped on Netflix when it became a thing, is because I hate waiting a week for an episode. Sometimes longer than that. Everybody does. And
Right.
commercials. If it's streaming, they were like, here's everything at once, no commercials, enjoy. And then everybody just became obsessed with that to the point where now these streaming sites are like, we'll give you three. And then you got to wait every week for the next one, or we'll just give you
Right.
one. I'm like, that's what separated you from TV in the first place, and you're getting away from that. Like that's what made you different. Now you're getting away from that. But I get it because they don't want everybody to just watch it and just like leave the
Right, because
channel or
that's how they
whatever.
glue their subscribers in and everything.
Yeah.
But at the same time, though, I do like, for example, with Disney Plus and what they're doing with Mandalorian and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Because here's the thing, I feel like depending on what show it is and
Hmm.
everything, like Mandalorian or whatever show that you're doing, I like to speculate. I like to use my imagination on what might happen next and
Yes.
use theories and
Yes.
theorize. I was like, well, why don't you just wait until it comes out? I said, because I don't want to. I want to use my imagination. I
Hmm.
want, because I said, what were you doing before we had this? We were using our imagination. We weren't being
Exactly.
told what was going to happen next. We always speculated. And now I feel like we are in a day and time where everything just needs to be explained to everybody
Yeah.
rather
Yeah.
than have our imaginations and expanding our imaginations and
Yeah.
using and speculating and talking to your friends and peers about it.
Yeah.
But there's also one other thing I want to mention though too. You said this too that really struck me too was, you know how you said we're always when we're in the movie theater we're dialed in
Hmm.
to a certain movie and stuff, and the technology and stuff like that. I remember going to see Black Panther for the first time. I was excited to go see that movie.
Hmm.
And then all of a sudden I see this teenage kid on his cell phone. I'm like, dude, we have T'Challa, the very first African American comic book based movie that's being represented to you, and you're spending two
Yeah.
and a half hours that your parents could have just went on ahead and just locked you in your room for 2.5 hours and watched whatever it is on your phone that's more important. I
Yeah.
said, this is what I was thinking to myself. I'm like, dude, you need to be dialed into this because you're in history right now. You're doing
Yeah.
something that no one would have thought in a million years that would actually happen
Yeah,
and
a
everything.
hundred percent. I feel you're right. And if you really want to get mad at that, go to like a concert, and that's all you see
Oh,
is
I've
it's
been
a
there.
cell phone. Yeah, but I get it. I totally get it, and I think that ties into people watching stuff at home. Like
Hmm.
as opposed to the movie experience. I feel like the old school, well, not even old school, like the pre-COVID movie experience is kind of like dwindling, and it's so sad. I get it, COVID, people want to be safe, so I'm all for it for people's safety. But if measures are in place for you to be able to go to the movies, if that's something you like to do, go to the movies. You know what I mean? I do it all the time and I follow all the precautions and we're good. But I just feel that it's a double edged sword in that we want to keep people safe, but we're kind of killing the movie experience and
Hmm.
it's really sad. But I'll do my part to still try and go and see all the movies in person, like the big movies. Like, no, I'm going to the theater. Like, no, I'm not going to watch it from home. I'm just going to go to the theater, get my popcorn and the
Right.
nachos, do my little butter strategy and my popcorn. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to go. So, but yeah, the movie experience is not for people. Isn't like it was when we were growing up, not even a
Definitely
couple
not.
of years ago, and it's sad. But I'm still gonna go and do my part because I just can't get enough of it. Like going to the movies helped keep me alive growing up, and so I'm not going to just stop doing that. You know what I mean?
Same. Same here as well. I mean, I remember the last movie I saw before the pandemic was The Invisible Man, and then after that, yeah, I did stream King Kong, Godzilla versus Kong
Yeah.
on HBO Max, and even though I
Hmm.
was let down by that film, I told, even whenever I was telling Charlie when we were reviewing it, I said, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to touch my microphone,
You
but
good?
no, but like I was telling Charlie, I said I would like to see this movie on the big screen and see the
Hmm.
visuals for what they are compared to what my small screen can do, because you're
Absolutely.
limited to what you can see on your small screen. Yes, I was let down by the movie, but I still want to go out and support it
Yeah.
because it's important to support your theaters. It's important to support this art that someone put their time and efforts in to something, and for those actors and actresses to go ahead and act their butts off and everything and stuff like that. you need to support them, and by supporting them, you need to go to the movie theater. There's certain movies that
100%.
you, and here's the thing: there's certain movies that you can watch on a smaller screen and get the enjoyment of it. But I feel like some movies, like Dune, for example, it needs to be played on
Yes,
a big screen at the movie theaters. Get
100%.
and also too, I want to see Candyman too, but but of course with Ida coming in and everything, that destroyed those plans for me.
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
but Fast and the Furious 9, I saw that in theaters, didn't care
Same,
for it, but
same.
but
Like it's just the big studio films, the popcorn ones. You know what I mean? You need to see that. You need to get that whole experience, or else it's going to help. It's going to affect how you view the movie if you don't get that whole experience. Shang-Chi, I'm seeing that in
me too.
theaters. Pretty much any comic book movie, you're going to see that in theaters. You know what I mean? And it's just, man, people. It's slowly dying out, and it sucks. Theaters are going out of business, and it's sad because that experience just keeps people alive. I know it did for me.
Me too.
And it's just go to if you're safe, go to the movies. I couldn't wait to go to the movies once we were able to. Last one I saw pre-pandemic was Sonic the Hedgehog,
Oh, okay.
and it was literally over a year before I went. And I remember I saw Nobody, the Bob Odenkirk movie. It was my first one out the gates when the theaters opened up, and I was happier than a clam. It was like I was reunited with like my best friend or something like that. You know what I mean? And yeah, the movies, it definitely saved me for sure. It
Same
definitely is
here
the
as
reason
well.
why I'm here today. 100%.
You see, I feel like movies to me is like mental health. You go,
Mm,
you know, that's my
yes.
place where I can go in and just relax and not having to worry about anything going on in my life.
Hmm.
And you know what I mean? It's just mental health. You're at peace. You're at peace with yourself. You find this peacefulness and you can
Hmm.
forget about everything. And I used to have this thing where I felt awkward going into a theater by myself. Like I just got over that awkwardness. Like whenever I saw Get Out, not Get Out, but A Quiet Place 2. I went on ahead,
Hmm.
saw that by myself. I saw The Invisible Man by myself. So it's just like little small steps of actually doing stuff at that time by myself and
Yeah,
everything.
I definitely got over that at like 14.
Oh, yeah.
My parents would drop me off to the movies. Or I'd go like I just would go by myself. Like pre being able to drive, all that stuff, just getting dropped off. It's just what I did. Thankfully I was of larger stature, so I really didn't get carded to go into like R-rated movies, which was a plus. So I saw everything, and yeah, I would go all the time. And I was just happy to be there by myself because I didn't have to like have someone here giving me their 2 cents and then their 2 cents. I could just zone out into my own world and just enjoy
Right.
for what I want to enjoy for. And it's been great. And I still love doing it to this day. And I don't think I'll ever stop loving doing that. So, yeah.
That's always a good thing, though, man.
Yeah.
That's great. And another thing too, though. I mean, movies has always been my passion. Reviewing movies has always been my thing. But also too, I remember at a young age and everything. I said I want to be an actor, and I was like, "How are you
Mhm.
gonna do that?" I said, "I don't know," but because I live in the South, which at that time there was nothing going on in the South.
Yeah.
There was
Yeah.
no Angelina Jolie, Brad Pitt, production
Yeah.
company. There was nothing
Oh,
going
yeah.
on. And then
Hmm.
also too, even with doing movie reviews and stuff like that, right? So I was like, you know what? I think I want to do movie reviews and stuff. Like, how are you gonna do that? I don't know, but
Hmm.
now I have an outlet. I have YouTube. I have stuff like that to actually do that. It's just amazing how years progress and then things change and evolve. And now there's a production company out in New Orleans. If you want to be an actor, there's stuff that's
Oh,
local
yeah.
now that you have access to that you would never have thought in a million years they would have access to because of how
Yeah.
well everything's evolving.
It's kind of like showing you how I interact with my friends and my family. It's kind of like that episode of The Simpsons with the Stonecutters. The club that secretive. You know how to get into. You got to be a member to get into. But now with the advent of like technology and production companies and all these different ways to get in, the doors are more open now. It's where you can join the club. You know what I mean? It's not. as exclusive as it once was. And that ties into like gender, race, all those different things. It's just a new, it's like a new like playing ground right now because of all these like things that have come up. And it's just a beautiful thing to see.
It definitely is, and I like the fact now Hollywood is actually trying to be more diverse
Yes.
and everything, and not. Here's the thing: I can't stand typecasting, especially when it goes into uh, Spanish casting, different, different race and stuff like that too. I don't like that. I don't like it when it's like, well, guess what? You're a Mexican, so you're gonna be a gangster. You're a Black
Yeah.
African American. You're gonna be I'm like, come
Yeah.
on. There's other roles
Yeah.
that people can actually take. Don't let it be where it's just that one thing, that one generic thing that everybody knows, and everything. There's roles for people that now.
The, there is, and I think it's twofold. I think first off, to kind of peel back the curtain a little bit, you need to get your foot in the door, however you need to get your foot in the door. But once it's in said door, that's when you're like, okay, I'm in here. These people know what I can do. Let me venture off and show them what I can do and do things that are not with type. You know what I mean? Like for me, it would be like a security guard or a doorman or
Right.
whatever. It's cool, and it helps get you in the door. But that's its purpose, and it serves its purpose, so it's a good thing. But once you're in, you can show people more of what you can do, and that will in itself diversify. And obviously, the best word in the English language, if I could, is no.
Right.
So once you get in the door and you start saying no to certain things because you want to expand and you're willing to take that risk, that just helps you get better and better, and it helps your footing in this industry better and better. And I feel that the biggest thing on top of that is people who look like, regular people who look like me or whatever race or gender you may be are getting more and more power to
Right.
create and tell their own stories, which is a huge thing. Your Issa Rae's, your Emerald Fennels, your Greta Gerwigs, all those people. They're like, these are women, these some women of color, men of color too. They're taking ownership of who they are in their culture and starting to tell their own stories, and because they're telling their own stories, they're putting people who might not have gotten a shot at leads back in the day a shot now, which is
Exactly.
fantastic. You know what I mean? You wouldn't have gotten Crazy Rich Asians 10 years ago.
No, no, you
You
wouldn't.
wouldn't have gotten Black Panther 10 years ago, where people of color are the predominant cast and like the other actors are, white people, and it's just the times have changed and with the different mediums as well too, like from it was YouTube Red, but that's not a thing, but you got, your Amazon, your Hulu, and your this and your that. So much more diversity at the top, and then so many more mediums for them to showcase that diversity equals where we're at now, where it's just like you can have trans actors, you can have uh, actors of color, you can have all this disabled actors like Coda, a movie like that.
Right.
That can happen now. A movie like Sound of Metal, that can happen now, because of where we're at with all these things falling into place.
Most definitely. And Sound of Metal was a great film, to be
It's
honest
my
with you.
favorite film of last year. It was
Mine
fantastic.
too.
Yeah.
I remember you and I just geeking out over that film and just how
Yeah.
wonderfully produced it was. The mixing on it was just fantastic and
Hmm.
everything too. And then the ending
Yeah.
was just so settled and
Yeah.
everything. It's where finally you get the main character. He's just at that point where he's like, this is who I am now. And now I have
Yeah.
to accept who I am and
Yeah.
accept this, my deafness for what it is.
When it comes down to it, it's all about the story. It's all
Right.
about the story you're trying to tell, which is why, actors can be Denzelian, but
Right.
you can never outact a shitty written script. Like it's
No.
impossible.
You can
Like as
try
good
everything.
you could try it. You can pull out all the tricks you have, all the tools in your tool bag. You can be the goats. You could be Meryl Streep, Viola Davis, doesn't matter. You cannot act better than a horribly written script. It's just as simple as that. There have been so many times where I've had friends who just didn't like a certain actor, and then they would see that actor in other things, and they'd be like, "Oh, hold up, this guy is really good. So wait a minute, actually, you know what? What he did before that was just shitty writing." And that's just
Right.
kind of how you have to view it. Like
Exactly.
Robert Pattinson. Like people
Yep.
people need to give Robert Pattinson his credit. Like he did Twilight. That's the thing.
Right.
It's on his resume. He was a glittery vampire. he did Twilight. It's a thing, and he realized what he had. He realized what happened. He's like, okay, now I got to show people that I actually can act. And so he went the indie route and was just cranking out like great performance after great performance after great performance. And now he's Batman, and people are so excited to see him as the Batman. You know, and you
Right.
got to give him his respect because he realized that that was not good for me, but now I have a chance to show people actually what I can do in actually well written projects. And now people are like, "Oh, yeah, you're great, dude. Like, yeah,
Right.
Twilight, whatever that happened, but you're fantastic.
Right.
You
But
have the ability
right.
to change people's perceptions when you actually get to work on properly written material."
Exactly, man. Exactly. Because here's the thing. I used to be one of those people that, oh, he was in Twilight, da 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 da.
Yeah.
But I'm always the type of person too now where I'm like, you know what? Twilight didn't do it for me. Let me check
Mhm.
out what else he's done. And
Yes.
even though none of the indie films really hit me, I'm like, okay, there's got to be a reason. There's got to be a mystery behind why the agents decided to go ahead and go with Robert Pattinson as Batman.
Hmm.
Finally, there was a movie that hit me, and that was The Devil All the Time.
Yeah.
And the creepiness and how dialed in he was in that character,
Yeah.
I'm like, this is the movie that did it for me. This is
Yeah.
the
You
movie
got
that,
it.
yep,
He did Twilight, and it was Twilight. But now you have to put respect on his name because
right,
he's a really fucking good actor,
yep,
and the fact that he was able to do non Twilight stuff and showcase what he can do, that just put respect on his name. Same thing with Matthew McConaughey. He was the king of the rom coms,
right.
But then
I
after he
remember
made
those.
after he made that switch and was like, I got to work on good shit, and he did Lincoln Lawyer and Dallas Buyers Club and True Detective and Killer Joe. You see how good he is. And you see him in Wolf of Wall Street where he's like steals the movie in 15 minutes.
Hmm.
Like you gotta show people what you can do, and that look, I'm really good at this. It's just I need good material because I can't make chicken salad out of chicken shit. you know,
Exactly.
With
It's like making potato
that's
salad and someone putting raisins in it. It just does not go.
yeah,
you
yeah,
you just don't do
yeah.
that.
So when it comes down to it, it's all about the story. It's all about telling the story and it being a good story to tell.
Exactly.
Worthwhile, that a story that is worthwhile that people will want to listen to. Which is why, like I said, movies. I think the reason why I latched on so young is because those actors were telling me stories that were better than the ones I had to live with every day. So
Right.
it literally comes down all to the story.
Right. And another one that I want to talk about is Leonardo DiCaprio. As soon as I saw The
Mm-mm.
Departed, it blew me away. Right. It goes, and I was like, you know what? Leo has actually done his job for me. Where I'm saying, you know what, dude, you can act. You done a great job.
Well,
And look what he did with eating Gilbert Grape back in the '90s and everything. Which
I
the
was literally about to say like even like back in the day when he did the movie with De Niro and then Gilbert Grape, you're like this guy's
Basketball
really good,
Diaries,
and
right?
then he does Basketball Diaries, which is fantastic. I love Mark Wahlberg in Basketball Diaries, and he does Twilight. I mean, I'm not sorry, I'm not sorry. He does Titanic, and then he does Romeo and Juliet. I'm like, eh, not a big fan of Titanic to this day. I
Same.
get mad when I talk about the ending of the movie because he could have fit on the goddamn door as well as she did. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
physics. Like doctors have actually looked it up. He could have fit on the
It,
door. Okay. I'm sorry. I apply like real life semantics to my movies.
it
Unless it's
doesn't
like
make any sense though, to be honest with
exactly.
you.
Unless it's a movie that is not going to make any sense, like a Fast and the Furious movie or like a
Right.
superhero film, you're like, other than like the basic rudimentary story, like what they put on top of the story, like, yeah, this, take it for what it is. It's a popcorn film, take it for what it is. But Titanic, he could have fit on the door. Like, he could have fit on the door. What's so funny is in Luke Cage season 2, Luke Cage's father twice referenced Titanic
Yep.
in a Marvel show so mad about how they both could have fit on the door. And I'm like, yes, yes, I've been like that since I can remember. Like, so that's why I like don't like Titanic really.
I
But
don't either, but I'm. But right.
other than that, and Romeo and Juliet, like, which is still pretty decent because it's Romeo and Juliet. Like, he's one of my favorite actors. Like, he just like I will watch everything he does. Like, I will literally just watch everything he does because he's just that good. So I feel you on that.
Right. So another thing I want to talk to you about was this, man. I mean, like I said, I'm proud of you and the work that you've been doing.
Thank you so much, brother.
You're very welcome. You earned your props. I mean, you just had that thing. I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep on going through what I need to do to get to where I'm at. And you're at CSI Vegas. I mean, and everything.
Hmm.
Who would have thought last year when you talked to me that you would actually be on CSI? That
I
is just
know.
mind blowing
I
to
know
me.
it's pretty cuckoo. It's just who would have thought any of this would happen? I know one person who did, and that was me. You know, and I didn't know when it was going to happen. I always say I know that it will. I just can't tell you when. The universe kind of puts out when it's supposed to happen because it's already out there, and it's up, and you're just going to go through your life and traverse all the terrain that you will, but you'll eventually get to where you're supposed to get to that the universe has put out for you. So I knew it was out there. I know that my time is coming, and I'm going to have my moments and things like that on different levels. And so I knew, but
Absolutely.
I didn't know when. And then just out of the blue, just like boom, in the pandemic, because I booked the show Rutherford Falls on Peacock. I did an episode of that. That was good exposure because I got to work with the dude Dr. Rick from the Progressive from the insurance commercials,
Yeah.
as well as Ed Helms, and that was great. And then I was supposed to do the morning show season two back in March. Literally, I was supposed to shoot probably 10 days before the lockdown, after the lockdown happened. So a year later, when maybe I wouldn't even want to come back to the show, they brought me back, and not only did they bring me back, I did half of the season. So hopefully I'll still be in it and pop up where in those episodes that I shot. And then that led into CSI towards the end of that. That went from one episode possibly recurring to I did three, and then that led to I'm also going to be in the season premiere of 911 as well. And just like boom, 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 boom. And it's just what helped a lot is my mindset, just to get out of my ego and stop taking things personally. Like it's nothing about you. It's about the character and the casting finding the perfect fit for the character.
Right.
Trust in yourself and know that you're doing everything in your power. You're doing your part to make this happen. And if you believe that it will happen, if you keep doing what you can do to the fullest extent, then it will eventually happen for you. It's about playing the long game. Getting
Exactly.
out of trying to getting out of the mindset of like, do they like me? Will they cast me? I need them to no. Like George Clooney said, the best thing you could do is to be a problem solver going into an audition. Like while you're thinking, am I going to get cast? The casting director is sitting aside from you, who you're looking at like, I don't know, they might not. They're thinking, I really hope this person can be different from the other 50 people we saw and actually give me what
Hmm.
we're looking for in this character. So if you have that mindset and try and be a solution to their problem, that will help you in the long run because it also gets you out of your head as well. Because just because they don't cast you doesn't mean that you didn't do a good job. Like I recently had a audition for a recurring guest star, and it was a great tape. And I got feedback that it was a great tape. They loved it, but they were looking for someone more character. And literally, sometimes that is the difference between booking and not booking. It's just that subjective. So it really is out of your hands. So it's not personal. It's what they need
Right.
for that character. It doesn't mean that you didn't kill it because if you killed it, you killed it. That's not undeniable, and they'll remember you and keep trying to bring you back until you are that fit that they're looking for. And that's really
Right.
what it comes down to. You just need to go in trying to solve casting's problem of figuring out who this character is by presenting your authentic self and what you think your interpretation of the character is, and being resolute in who that person is and being proud of that and just leaving it at that. You know what I mean? That's all you can do because hopefully you just made a fan out of this casting director to where maybe you might not book this, maybe they might bring you back and you might not book that, but
Right.
they're going to keep bringing you back because they love what you can do and they want to end up casting you in something eventually, and that's really what it comes down to.
Exactly. Because I remember I've been listening to a lot of the Talking Sopranos podcast. As
Hmm.
you know, I'm a huge Sopranos fan, anyways. But
Yeah.
I've
Oh
been
yeah. Oh yeah.
I've been listening to them, and they talked about how the guy who played Bobby, Steve Sharippa,
Hmm.
he went and flew 7 times, I think, to this audition,
Yeah.
and basically they didn't even pay for his transportation. He had to go ahead and basically pay for the transportation and everything.
Hmm.
And he said, I don't know if I'm going to get this part. I don't know what's going to happen. And he goes, after the seventh time, he's like, look, I don't even know if they're even, I don't even know why I'm even doing this. This is my seventh time.
Yeah.
But like you said, though, they saw something in the edition with the other 50 people that, that they saw, and they saw something authentic about it, something that extra that he could bring to that character. And once you get out of that whole entire ego, it's like, well, what's the problem with me? Well, it's not necessarily the problem with you. It may
Exactly.
be how you're perceiving that character and how they're wanting you to do that character, because they want you to be able to transform into that character and not overact that character and everything, and also too not to actually act like yourself but act like the character instead. And that's what I here's the thing, I actually did a couple of audition stuff with a friend of mine or whatever, and I was
Hmm.
helping her out. I'm like, can I be honest with you? She goes, what's that? I said, I feel like you're playing yourself rather than this person.
Hmm.
Bring a little extra to that character, improv a little bit.
I mean, there's a degree of that, but I feel like you casting is looking for authenticity,
Right.
and there's nothing more authentic than who you are. You know
Right.
what I mean? So who you are is your superpower, as I always say.
Mm,
So you need to bring you to the character, but I think it's more you're bringing you, but it's you yourself as this person in your life. How would you react to this situation,
right.
these circumstances is going to happen? Because that would be truthful, because this is how you would react in real life, and it'll play truthful to the casting that's sitting across from you. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? And even on top of that, you could do that, and you could be great for the role. Like me, great for the role. You're great take. It could be like I'm 2 inches shorter than this guy, so he gets it. Or my eyes are a different color than this guy, so he gets it. Or like this last audition, I'm not charactery enough. I look a little too normal, so I'm not getting it. Literally, something as simple as that could be the reason of you getting it or not. So
Right.
getting it, booking it is where does it sound? Booking it is not the objective. The
Right.
objective is to bring yourself and what you feel this character is fully, honestly, truthfully, with all that you are, like you believe in it, and making a fan out of that casting director, trying to solve their problem. And even if you don't solve their problem and they don't cast you, they really appreciate you doing that and will try and bring you back to see if you can solve some of the other problems that they have in casting, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
You know,
it
so it's
does.
it's all it's all about believing in what you're bringing into that audition, believing that this is a true like performance of what you think this character is. You infuse yourself into that. You believe in it, because the belief is the most important thing, and you just leave it at that. And then if they catch you. If not, oh well, you did your job. Hopefully they remembered you and they'll keep bringing you back, because there are people who will book a show after coming into an office like 20, 30 times, literally 20, 30 times. They keep bringing you back. That's because they see your skill, they see what you bring, and they know that you belong on one of the things that they're doing. They just got to find that perfect spot for you. Because when it comes down to it, after a casting director has casted a show, you're like, okay, I understand why they cast that person. Because you can never see anybody else in that role. You know what I mean? Like, no one else can play Tony Stark other than Robert Downey Jr.
Right.
Okay, no one else can play the Punisher other than John Bernthal. You know what I mean? Like you're like, oh, I see why they cast them. They they're the person. Like that's it. And you can't take that personally, because it's nothing to do
No.
with you, because you did your job. And it
Exactly.
also it ties into the universe, which I'm a big fan of. Is like, if you if you could book everything, you would, but you're not. No one is.
No.
You know what I mean? So when it comes down to it, the person who got the part was supposed to get the part from the beginning. It was meant for them. What's meant for you and what you booked is meant for you. So you can't get mad at something that obviously was not meant for you, because casting knows what they're doing, and they cast the person who's the person. It was meant for them. What's
Exactly.
meant for you will come to you, which is why you have to play the long game. Because a lot of people want to, pull anchor and run before they realize, hey, 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 wait, okay, you didn't get that. But what's meant for you is already out there. You just need to stay here and just take the time to get there. You
Exactly.
have to play the long game. If you
Right.
play the long game, it will come to you as long as you believe it will come to you.
Exactly, man. Because here's the thing: everybody thinks that you start from here, but
Hmm.
you have to start from the bottom and work your way up to
Yeah,
the top. With everything you do, you have to keep on grinding. You have to start off from that bottom level. You're not going to be this top level actor yet. You have to work on different levels before you can get to that level that you need
hmm,
to do. So you just need to go on ahead, keep your head, pretty much just going ahead, keep your mind on the prize and
hmm,
everything. And it's
hmm.
going to work out eventually. You just have to get there. And not every,
Yeah,
like you said, not every part is going to be meant for you. But guess what? There's other auditions. There's other places that you can actually go to and audition and just try your best to actually give the performance
yeah,
that they're actually looking for.
yeah.
Yes, it may suck that you didn't get that role, but guess what? Hold your head up high, move on. There's other auditions in its place that's going to be beneficial for you in the end.
100%. The best analogy I ever heard, I got to shout her out, is my mindset coach. Her name is Shannon Bills. She's actually a former casting director, which gives me a lot of
Mm,
insight to how it works. But I studied with her, and she's great. And she gave me the reference to something called, as actors on the come up, you're in what's called watering season. You're like a plant that's being watered and groomed and potted and soiled and prepared for when the moment comes when that sun hits you at that right angle and you've matured enough where it's time for you to bust out and sprout. And when you bust out and sprout, you want to grow. You want to grow as big as you can and you want to be as mighty as you can. So until that moment happens when it's time for you to sprout, it's watering season. We're getting you prepared. So that's just how you have to kind of view playing the long game.
exactly, man. Exactly. Because, I remember last year I had an independent director on, Crichton, and he said this to me. He goes, think of what you're doing right now in the terms of doing your podcast and everything in the way that I do pick my actors. Right now, you're a small podcast right now. But
Hmm.
guess what? It's like watering a gardening. You, he gave me the same analogy
Yeah,
that you gave me,
pretty much how
and
it is.
right, I'm like, you know what, man? I never thought of it that way. He opened my eyes up, and who would have thought that I'd be doing this right now? But not only doing this, but on September 15th, I'm going to be interviewing someone from School of Rock as
Yeah,
well.
like, come on.
And I'm going to be making that announcement tomorrow on who it is. But
Yeah,
it's just mind blowing, and I'm total in awe about it because it's something that I wasn't expecting. And also, too, if I was expecting it, I don't think I would be that much humbled over it as I am because if I'm expecting it, it doesn't hit you the right way
yeah.
and everything. It's like, it's like this. It's like, you know what? I knew that was going to happen. I knew that the
Hmm.
person was going to be on the show. But the constant fact you reach out to somebody, you email them, you don't know if that person's going to get back to you or not. And
Yeah.
then all of a sudden it's like, hey, look, I would love to be on your show. I would love to have you in there for that audition. I would love, like, wait, what?
Yeah, it comes down to not it comes down to believing that it's going to happen, not expecting that it's going to happen.
Right.
Because I believe these things that are happening to me right now were going to happen. And I just believed that. I just was convinced. My conviction was I do what I need to do, I handle what I need to handle, I get better, these things will happen. I didn't say, well, this is actually going to happen. This, and this. I got out of that mindset long ago. Like, I don't expect this to happen at this time and do this and this. I might set like dates in the future for like manifestation purposes, like vision board purposes. But you need to not expect for it to happen. You just need to know, like subtly in your body. It's like, I know this is going to happen one day as long as I keep working towards it. You know what I mean? And
Exactly.
if you look, and it's crazy because even me right now, if I look back 5 years ago to where I was at, if I saw this is going to happen right now, I'd be like, holy shit. Like everybody would. Like, look at yourself 5 years ago and look at yourself right now.
Right.
The growth that you made. That there proves to you that it is about playing the long game because 5 years from now, we both know what it's going to be like for me.
Right.
So it's just
Exactly,
like,
man. I'm going to be seeing
that's how
you
you
on
got
the
to view
Oscars.
it.
I'm just going to say that. I'm going to see you
Well,
out
I
there,
mean,
like I said before. Hey,
Oscars would be cool. I mean, that would be cool.
but
I mean,
Golden Globes, whatever.
yeah. I mean, I've never been like an award guy.
Right.
I'm
Right.
like, to get recognition from my peers is cool.
Right.
I I value being a great worker who people on set love working with more so than trying to win an
That's
award.
great.
If I get nominated, great. I mean, I'm cool with the
Right.
nomination. Like I'm nominated, that
Right.
means that my peers and important people is like, yeah, you can come sit at this big table with us. Yeah, you're welcome over here. I'm good with that. Like if I win, that's just icing on the cake. But the most important thing to me is that I'm someone that people want to work with. The crew, the cast, production team, like that Sean is someone who we just enjoy having around, and we just
Right.
want to have him around because it just makes our set a better place. I think that's more importantly what I want, and just to work, man, just to not have a day job where this is my job, and if this is my job, I'm not working. That's
Exactly.
just how it is. I do have my ultimate goals. Shout out Marvel or shout out DC. I would love to be like I already put it out there. If you're doing a Green Lantern Corps movie, I'm your Kilowog. If you're doing a Fantastic Four reboot, MCU, now that you bought 20th Century Fox, I'm your thing. I'm your Ben Grimm. You know what I mean? So I do put
Right.
stuff out there, but it's just if we the rudimentary level, it's just working. You just want to
Exactly.
work. It's not about the bells and
Right.
whistles. You just want to work, and you just want this to
Exactly.
be what you do because this is just what you want to do, and that's
Right.
just how I view it.
And another thing, though, too, man, that I really respect out of you too, is how humbled you are and how respectful you are towards what you're doing and stuff like that, and getting the respect of the director and saying this is who I am and everything,
Hmm.
and having that respect. That's something I have to say is rare and everything, and I want to say that's admirable and everything for.
Thanks, man.
You're very welcome. Because I notice on Facebook and everything, you're very humbled. You're a great person to get along with and everything. You have people
Hmm.
that look up to you and stuff and everything. And I just want to say, I respect what you're doing. You're doing a fantastic job at what you're doing.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah,
You're very
it's
welcome.
it's great. It's great to inspire people. It's great
It
to.
is.
I always tell people that anybody I meet, I try to leave them as a better person than before they met me. Because I always want to like elevate and motivate people.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And if you reach out to me, I'm going to talk to you. Whenever I find time, I will talk to you. And you just got to be humble. You got to
Exactly.
be. Yeah, I mean, in that humbleness, you know what you bring to the table. Like I know that I'm not bad. I'm pretty good at what I do. But I will get better and better. This is not like an end game where I'm at right now. I know that I'm pretty decent, pretty good at what I do. I know I can get better, and you just leave that praise to other people to tell you. Like Walter Payton said back in the day, he was like, if you're good at something, you tell everybody. If you're great at something, they tell you. So I just do my thing. I keep my head down. I try to reach
Exactly.
my own self prescribed level of greatness that I want to achieve and that I work for. And if people want to say that, I'll let them say it. I'm not going to have to say it for myself. The work speaks for itself. But yeah, you got to be humble, man. You got to be a good person. Like that's why I love Ted Lasso. You know, it's just being a good person should be in. It shouldn't be like a revelation that never existed. That being a good person is a great thing to be, or is cool, or is in, or chic. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And I feel like you got to be a good person. And I feel like, despite the acting, like what skills I'm trying to learn and what I'm doing, the reason why I'm at where I'm at right now is because I'm a good person, and I try to be a good person every day. And I try to be a better person every day. You know what I mean? And I don't
Exactly.
let this town affect who I am fundamentally as Sean. Where I'm from and things like that. So when it comes down to it, if you're a good person, whatever you want to do, you stay that person. It'll work out for you. It'll work
Exactly,
out for
man.
you. Yeah.
So, with that being said, I want to just say thank you again for taking the time out of your night to do this
Absolutely.
and everything. I just wanted
Anytime.
to catch up with you. I didn't want to do a 21 question interview or anything like that because here's the
Yeah.
thing. I like having conversation. I wanted to do
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
thing like as in we're talking on the phone and you're just talking to me.
Yeah. Oh,
And
I
I
love
have
to
more
talk,
fun
so we'll
doing that
talk. Yeah.
and
Same.
everything. And I just have a question. Where can everybody follow you at and all that other good stuff?
For sure. You can follow me with my stage name on Facebook at Sean Alexander James, and then you can follow me on Instagram at the Sean Burger. Conversation for another day how I got that nickname, but everybody refers to me as Sean Burger. Yeah, I got 3 shows coming out this fall, which is cuckoo to say. But like I said, I knew eventually it would happen. Not expected it, but I was like, I felt in my bones, if I kept doing it, it will happen. But to be here is great, and I'm very thankful for where I'm at. And yeah, so morning show season 2 drops September 17th on Apple TV Plus. I debuted, if you want to call it that, in season 1, and they brought me back, and I'll be popping up more so than ever, which is great. I think I start later in the season. I think around like episode 4, maybe. And I'm in about, if everything goes well, I'll be in about half the season, which is fantastic.
That's awesome.
And
Dude.
then 3 days after that, on September 20th, you got the season premiere now on 1. I'll be in that. No spoilers. It's going to be cuckoo. It's crazy. Commercial, you got llamas in the street and explosions in Hollywood. And yeah, it's bananas. So I'll be in that. And then October 6th, CSI Vegas drops on CBS. I'll be in the first episode. And then I'm not in episode 2, but I'll be in the next 2 after that. And then that character, maybe if it comes back, maybe that could build, we can expand upon that, and I'll come back. And we don't know where it can go. All I can control, like I said, is being a nice person, doing a good job, and making sure people on the set can count on me. And so because of that, I'm thankfully in the position I'm in now. And yeah, it's going to be a good 2 months. So you have plenty of avenues to check me out on, and hope you watch everything. And if you want to follow me, cool. If you want to have a conversation, cool. I'm pretty easygoing, and I'll talk to anybody. So yeah,
Exactly.
there you go. There you have it.
All right. And so that's going to do it for the show for tonight. But before I get off here, I am going to be interviewing somebody on September 15th, one of the actresses from the movie School of Rock. I'm not going to go on ahead and say who it is until tomorrow morning. So if you're listening to this podcast or if you're tuning in later on, you get to find out tomorrow morning on who it actually is, because I've been teasing it on Twitter, I've been teasing it on Facebook, on the Movie Lovers TV Lovers Nights Facebook page. So go on ahead, check that out as well. But also too, guys, I teamed up with Two Blur Girls podcast, and we've been doing a charity for St. Jude's Children's Hospital with Sensies and everything. All the proceeds go over to St. Jude's Children's Hospital. So go on ahead, get yourself a Sensi for that certain someone, or if you want a Sensi for yourself, click the link below. It supports St. Jude's Children's Hospital. Also, too, another thing you guys can do is, like I said before, you guys can follow me on TV Lovers Movie Lovers Unite on Facebook and on Instagram as well. You guys can always go on ahead and get an audio-only podcast of this show wherever you guys get your podcast from. But here's the thing. Instead of you guys going to Apple Podcasts, go to Good Pods. If you love listening to different podcasts and everything, go to Good Pods, rate me on Good Pods, tell me what you think of my show. You can actually rate by episode, so therefore you're able to go ahead and tell me what you think of each episode. And even if you didn't like a certain episode, tell me what you didn't like about that episode so I can improve on what I'm doing as a podcaster, because I'm all about giving out content that you guys enjoy. So another thing too is, go on ahead, if you're a sponsor and would like to get in touch with me, just go on ahead, email me at movieloversunite@gmail.com. Of course, you guys can go on ahead, follow me on Twitter as well at movieloversunit. And then those are all the places they can go on ahead and follow me at. Don't forget to like, smash that subscribe button. Also too, smash that little bell on the bottom right hand corner. That gives you the little notifications saying, hey look, Movie Lovers Unite is going live. Or we have something a little extra going on. Go on ahead, smash that bell on the bottom right hand corner and everything, and you won't be disappointed. Always, until next time, thank you, Sean, for coming on once again. I do appreciate it. And always, until next time, guys, it's been real, it's been fun. I can't wait to do this again, and bye bye.